Hey gang, so this is our multi-step inequalities worksheet that you have for homework tonight for the weekend. And I'm going to do I've already done number 1 with you, so I'm going to start with number 2 and work some of these. So number 2 says 6x plus 2 plus 6x is less than 14. Now I'm going to go through these not super slow. Just remember that you can always stop and rewind anytime you want. That's the beauty of videos. So I would highly recommend that you try it on your own, and then once you get to a point where you're like, oh, I don't know what to do next, then you stop and let's see how that works. It's going to put that bright light on it. Then you would stop and watch the video. On this first one, I'm going to notice that when I cover up this side, I have terms over here that I can put together. 6x and 6x can go together. So 6x and 6x is going to give me 12x plus 2 and 14. I'm going to keep the inequality exactly as it's written. Give you a second to pause the video in case you want to move on. I'm going to move the 2 over. Now I am subtracting, but I'm not multiplying or dividing by anything. So I'm not going to have to change or flip anything. So 12x, 14 minus 2 is 12. Keep the inequality exactly the same. The inverse of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide everything by 12. I'm not dividing or multiplying by a negative, so nothing's going to change. This will give me x, this will give me 1, and I keep the inequality exactly the same. To graph it, I would come over here on my number line. I believe there's a 1 right there. I would circle the 1. It points this direction, so I'm going to shade this direction. And there's number 2. All right. Let's go to number 3. All right, so number 3 says negative p, I'll put a 3 up here, negative p minus 4p is greater than negative 10. I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to look, and on that side I see that I have 2 p's. So I'm going to remember, this is actually a 1. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5p. This will give me negative 10, and I keep that inequality exactly the same. In order to get this negative 5 away, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5. But I remember that when I divide or multiply by a negative, it makes them swap on the number line. So I'm going to have to remember that I'm going to need to flip that. 5 over 5 is going to cancel, and I'm going to have p. Negative 10 divided by negative 5 is a positive 2. Negative divided by negative is a positive. And I need to flip this. So it was pointing this way. I'm going to turn it and point it that way. When I go to graph it, I'm going to go to 0. I'm going to go to positive 2. I'm going to circle it. It's pointing this direction, so I'm going to shade this direction. All right, on to number 4. Number 4. 18 is greater than or equal to 5k plus 4k. I'm going to draw my line. Now, when I go to solve this, 5k and 4k, when I look, they're the same family. So I can put those together. 5 and 4 give me 9. So I'm going to say 18, and I'm going to make this 9k. My inequality, I'm going to keep it exactly as it is. I'm not going to change it. Now I need to get rid of that 9 that's attached to the k. So I'm going to divide both sides by 9. That's going to give me a 2, and this will just give me k. I didn't divide by negative or anything, so I'm going to leave my inequality exactly the same. But I don't like reading from the right to the left. K is less than or equal to 2. 2 is greater than or equal to K. I like to have my K over here and my 2 over here. But if I swap sides, I'm looking at this inequality. It's pointing at the K. So if I swap the sides here, I need to be sure that my inequality is still pointing to the K. It points to the K here, so I need to make sure it points to the K there. And there's my answer. So I'm going to graph it. 0. Sorry, my computer froze. 0, and I'm going to put the 2 here. I'm going to circle the 2. It is equal to, so I'm going to color it in. It's pointing to the left, so I'm going to shade to the left. There we go. All right, I'm going to do number 5. Number 5. 5 is 9 is greater than or equal to negative 2m plus 2 minus 3. I'm going to draw my line. On this side, I noticed that I do have some terms over here that I can put together. I've got a 2 and a negative 3. Just numbers, so I'm going to put them together. 9 is greater than or equal to negative 2m. Negative 3 and 2 will give me negative 1. Well, I'm still trying to get m alone, so I need to, hey guys.
Hi, team.
Don't need, okay. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So that's going to give me 10 on this side, greater than or equal to negative 2m. Well, I need to get the m alone still, so I do need to get rid of that negative 2. Multiplication, the inverse is division, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. But when I divide or multiply by negative, I know that it swaps where they are on the number line. So I'm going to need to circle that because I'm going to have to flip it. So that's going to give me negative 5. This is going to give me m, and I'm going to flip that, and it's going to be less than or equal to. But I don't like having my m on the right. So I'm going to put my m over here, my negative 5 over here. It's pointing to the negative 5, so I want to make sure it points to the negative 5 when I put it down here. And there's my answer. So I'm going to draw my line, 0, negative 5, circle it. It is equal to, so I'm going to color it in. It points to the right, so I'm going to shade to the right. There we go. All right, on to number 6. Now remember, I'm going pretty fast because you should be stopping and rewinding this. Now, I highly recommend, if you've just been sitting here watching me do these, I would stop the video. I would at least try to do one on your own because you know we're going to have a quiz on this, and you want to be able to work these. All right, let me pause this. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line. Yeah, I know it magically appeared, right? I had to pause it. Okay, so let me put that light right there. This one, yeah, if you haven't stopped the video yet, you should really try this one on your own. We're going to hippity-hoppity distributive property on this one. So we're going to have negative 3. Negative 6 times 4x will be negative 24x. Negative 6 times 6 will be negative 36. Greater than negative 111. I'm going to look over here on this side, and I'm going to see if there's anything I can put together. I can put that together, right? So negative 24x, negative 36 minus 3 is negative 30. Okay, my computer froze, or my hovercam froze again, so I did already get a little bit further. On this one, I need to move the 39, so I'm going to add 39 to both sides. I'm going to get my calculator. I'm going to do negative 111 plus 39. Oops, maybe not that. Negative 72. So this is negative 72. This is negative 24x. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 24. And what I'm going to notice is that I'm dividing by negative. That means they're switching places on the number line. So I need to circle that because I'm going to have to remember that. So x, negative divided by negative is positive. We're going to get a 3. And I'm going to flip that. So it's going to point the other direction. On my number line, and if my computer freezes again, I'll just leave it. I'm going to put a 3. I'm going to circle the 3. I'm not coloring it in because it's not equals to, and it points to the left. So I'm going to shade to the left. Try and get that going that way. There we go. Now that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to leave 7. I'm going to try and do 7 and 8, but if my computer screen freezes, whatever, I'll just leave it with you guys. Because I've worked a bunch of them. Surely you can get the last ones on your own. Here we go. Let's start with number 7. So 6 minus 4 parenthesis 6n plus 7